we have our speaker, who's the youngest speaker for the day. He's Mr. Veer Shandilya. He's 11 years old, and he's also indeed a child prodigy because he's the youngest AI scientist in the world.
Good morning, everyone. I was born on June 1st, 2010, but my journey towards the path of knowledge and self-discovery started when I was 6. One fine day, my mother got an email from my teacher suspecting that I might be diagnosed with ADHD. That one email completely turned my parents' lives upside down. Hi, I am Veer Shandilya. I am the youngest data scientist in the world. I am also a published author, and I've come here to share 3 of my life-changing stories with all of you. But before I do that, I'd like to thank the Half Brick and Mr. Bala for giving me this opportunity to speak here. I'd also like to thank all of you for taking out time from your schedule to listen to my story. Last but not least, I'd like to thank the backstage crew for making this whole event possible. All right, fast forward to what I was saying before. The next few weeks were nothing but a series of doctor and school visits trying to prove my teacher wrong, which they actually did, and I was really happy about that. But my mother, however, was terrorized for years to come, and my education became her priority, and lo and behold, all my monkey business came to an end. That was awful, but also a good thing, because I actually managed to learn a lot of different things. But let's go back to what I was saying first. My first challenge popped up when I was in year 3. It was a times tables competition where there were 20 different levels, both level 10 and level 20 having 100 questions that we had to solve, multiplication and division. But level 20 was a nightmare, not only for me, but everyone in the whole year group, because we'd get times tables all the way up to 20 times 20. For example, 18 times 17, 14 times 13, etc., etc. Not to mention, we had to solve all questions in just 3 minutes. And that was quite a daunting task for a 7-year-old. From that day on, times tables became my companion during eating, sleeping, bathing, even when I'm in the bathroom. Who knows? I only know. But what my learning is from this story is that you have to practice as much as you can to achieve something. And I learned this when, after 10 weeks of plunging through different levels, practicing as much as I possibly could, I was officially titled the youngest in my school to complete the whole competition. And although that was a humbling experience, I was nowhere close to being prepared for what was about to happen next. I became a convenient replacement for a calculator, not only to my parents, sometimes even a few guests and teachers would randomly stop me if I'm walking by, say, "Hey Veer, what's some number multiplied by a number?" To which I would respond and actually somehow be correct. This story taught me a valuable lesson that without hard work, discipline, and consistency, you're not going to be able to achieve big things in life. And that every failure is learning in disguise. Because when I was practicing, I didn't easily just get all of them right. I failed so many times, sometimes I even tore the paper. That's how angry I would get. But yeah, that's what I learned after that. My next story links to 2 years later when I was in year 5. So after learning an important lesson about success at a young age, when I was in year 3, there was soon time to embark on yet another journey. I remember in year 5 when I was learning about a topic called the Mayan Civilization. And that was by far the most interesting topic to me. And I was thinking that what if I write a book on it? Not only because of the topic itself that I found really fascinating, but because I also remember my dad saying people who read more books as they grow up become more successful. So this time I tried my hands on book writing. I took many different ideas from my teachers, parents, even a few of my friends of mine at school. And after a few months of changing different things in the book, writing it online, making different mistakes, solving them, I finally published my first book called Time Travelers, A Journey to Mayan, and which is also available on Amazon today. So if you're interested, please do check it out. This lesson, this whole story taught me a lesson that good things take time. Because as I was in year 5, I may have had like a good imagination and all of that, but it took a lot of time just to structure it, then try thinking of good ideas to put in the book so that people who read it will be interested in it. Now, as we all know, 2020 was quite an interesting year. COVID just struck the world, lockdowns were at an all-time high. So was TikTok, yeah. That year, I was pretty bored actually, yeah. I didn't know what to do. I checked TikTok. That was not really interesting because I didn't like dancing in front of the camera. But, yeah. And my mom started to make things serious for me. But before I explain that, let's go 2 years back in 2018. I was 8 years old at that time when I was learning block coding. And I used this platform called Scratch, where I would use blocks of code to make a project. For example, it could be chasing a character or a maze game. But, time up. But also that 2 years later, I knew a lot about it, 2020. So back to what I was saying, my mom made things really serious for me. So she enrolled me in this platform called Hello Learner to learn text coding. The text coding language I'm learning is Python. I'm still really interested in it, and I'm learning different things up to today. That over time, I grew really interested in the coding language, which, like I said earlier, made me make different games. And I even took up a few certifications from the US, a few short introductory courses. A few months later, I was offered an internship from Oxford with many students like me. It was like more of an online kind of class because of COVID. It was more online, and there were other students like me, except I was the only one who was, 11 years old, 10 years old. So that made me just feel kind of tiny, I guess. But the course overall was really interesting. The mentor introduced us to different parts of advanced Python. And at the end, they would give us a different set of projects that we had to make. And I chose the shape detection project. So how that project worked is that you would input a picture of a shape from the web or something. It would outline the shape and write the name of the shape next to it. So if I inputted a picture of a hexagon, it would outline it and write hexagon next to it. That project was just the start, and it really impressed my mentor. And I remember one day that I was reading through different articles about data science, since I was very new to the topic. And I found out that the youngest data scientist was 12 years old. And considering I was 11 at that time, I thought, what if I try breaking the record? I was really determined for that, and the thing is, once you have enough determination and you're just going after it. There's no going back. Especially when you have a mother who's like a full-time parent and a part-time daydreamer. Yeah. Uh, the course normally was offered to 14 plus ages, but because of my knowledge in advanced Python and because of the internship I did earlier, they made it work for me, and it was a whole new chapter. There were different levels, just like cracking times tables, there were different levels in the data science course. Hardest one, which was the final level, AI expert level, which was split into 3 different parts: AI expert level 1, AI expert level 2, AI expert level 3. These 3 were incredibly difficult. I was in year 7 too, so getting schoolwork and dealing with this was just a completely different thing, and it was very difficult for me. Sometimes I'd even just start crying randomly because I couldn't handle it, all the stress and pressure. And I spent so much time on that I would forget assignments in school. Like if I had math homework, I'd get detentions. So I was focused so much on that. Eventually, on May 24th, I was officially titled the youngest data scientist in the world. And going back to what I said, focusing on schoolwork was difficult. This is coming from someone who got 5 detentions in a year, right? Because no one ever got that much. I was the only one who actually had a detention in the whole year. But after completing the data science course, I realized that it was all worth it. To sum it all up, keep dreaming bigger, but remember that the bigger you dream, the bigger your actions will have to be. I'm working towards many different things, and I believe that I can become whatever my mind conceives, and I think that you should too. Thank you.